Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today's topic is the histology of the respiratory system. We have already covered few histology slides in the playlist Histology in a Nutshell. If you go through that, you can see the important general histology and few systemic histology slides also. Now we will continue with the histology of respiratory system. Those who have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe now so that you will have the continuation of histology, embryology, gross anatomy and all the complete anatomy topics in our channel. Do subscribe now. Now we will move on to the topic histology of respiratory system, which is an interesting topic. We should know the parts of the respiratory system first: conducting portion and respiratory portion. Conducting portion consists of nasal cavity, mouth, nasopharynx, oropharynx, larynx, trachea and up to the tertiary bronchi. They are the conducting only portion of the respiratory system, and also the bronchioles. Respiratory portion where the actual exchange of gases take place. Respiratory bronchioles, alveolar ducts, alveolar sacs and alveoli. So these are all the parts of the respiratory system. So in this respiratory system we will start with the histology of trachea in this class mainly. So in this, before we start with the trachea, we should know the important features of the epithelium of the respiratory system. So epithelium of the respiratory system is pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. So this is the epithelium you can appreciate. So pseudostratified, you should have learnt in the general histology, pseudostratified. So it is not stratified, it is only one layer of cells which appear as pseudostratified because of the difference in the heights of the cells. So that is the pseudostratified. Ciliated, so respiratory portion should conduct the air, so naturally it will have the cilia and its shape is columnar. And the other important feature of this respiratory system histology is hyaline cartilage is present. So this respiratory system should not collapse at any time. So it should not be fibromuscular, it should be fibrocartilaginous. So that is the important feature of hyaline cartilage presence in the respiratory system. So you should understand before we move on to the histology of trachea and the details of the respiratory system. So now only we have learnt the two parts, that is the conducting portion and respiratory portion. So this pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium will gradually change from the conducting portion to the respiratory portion, where it will be, so first it will lose its cilia and pseudostratification, then it will become simple columnar, simple cuboidal. So if you go to the alveoli where the actual exchange of gases take place, so the epithelium should be minimal, so it will be simple squamous. So it is so interesting, starting from pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, changing from trachea, bronchi, bronchioles to the alveoli. It's the same, the hyaline cartilage presence from the trachea, it will go on decrease in size and reaching the alveoli. In the alveoli only simple squamous and without any cartilage and all. So this is that two features you should understand before we will start the details. Cell types in pseudostratified ciliated columnar. So the pseudostratification, because of increase in the difference in the heights of the cells, because of the so many types of cells in this epithelium. So what are the types of the cells is ciliated columnar cell, basal cell, goblet cell, brush cell, serous cell and diffuse neuroendocrine system cells. So these are the six types of cells in the pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium of the respiratory system. So this is the picture, good picture, diagrammatic, how to draw the cells. So this is the ciliated cells, and this is the goblet cell, basal cell, granule cell, brush cell, and Clara cell, that is DNES cell. Granule cell is, we are having that serous granule cell. First we will see the ciliated columnar. It consists of 30% of the cell population. It is tall, slender cell having basal nucleus. So up to 300 cilia in each cell, so that to conduct the air from the nasal cavity. And even microvilli also present. So students should know the difference of cilia and microvilli. Basal cells. So this is the reason why this is pseudostratified. Some cells are only in the basal level, that is 30%. They are considered to be stem cells. So in the basal cell you can appreciate how this is present in the base. Because of that only difference in the heights of the nuclei, giving this appearance of the pseudostratification. Goblet cells. So goblet cells, how will you define goblet cells? It is an unicellular gland. That is the correct definition of the goblet cells. Goblet cells will be present in two systems, gastrointestinal system and respiratory system. So what is the difference in this presence of goblet cells in this two systems is, if you see the respiratory system, the number of goblet cells will decrease from proximal to distal part of the system. And if you see the gastrointestinal system, the number of goblet cells from proximal to distal. So that is the main difference in the presence of goblet cells in the two systems. So and it's 30% of the cells, and its unique shape is speck shaped. That is the narrow stem and wider part of the upper region. Narrow basally positioned stem and expanded upper part called theca. So that's why it is called peg glass. That shape is this goblet cells. So it produces mucinogen, which becomes hydrated and is known as the mucin. If you see in this base, nucleus and organelles are present. And if you see the upper portion, mucinogen granules are present. If you see the number of goblet cells, you can see how many are present, 6,000 to 7,000 per millimeter square. So as we have told, goblet cells decrease in number from proximal to distal. Goblet cells are present up to bronchi only, small bronchi, and not in the bronchioles. Brush cells. 3% of this population, narrow columnar with tall microvilli. So again you can see the brush cells. Ciliated cell is having the cilia, brush cell is having the microvilli. Small granule mucus cells, otherwise they are called as small granule mucus cells. So these small granule serous cells are also present. They also consist of 3% of the respiratory epithelium. Columnar cells, apical microvilli and apical granules secrete serous fluid. DNES cells, that is the diffuse neuroendocrine system cells, they are also containing small granules. They consist of 3 to 4% of the population, contain numerous granules in their basal cytoplasm. Now we have completed in detail the cell types in the respiratory epithelium. Now we will move on to the histology of trachea slide. Trachea slide will be given for you in the main exams. 3 layers in the trachea: mucosa, submucosa, and adventitia. Mucosa first we will see. So the same epithelium, mean epithelium is present in the respiratory system is present in trachea. Pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. Subepithelial connective tissue, that is the lamina propria, and thick bundle of elastic fibers separate the mucosa and the submucosa. So now you can see the mucosa is given epithelium, lamina propria, and also elastic fibers, submucosa and adventitia. You can appreciate hyaline cartilage is present in the adventitia. Submucosa is contained in the glands. Lamina propria and elastic fibers. Lamina propria, loose fibroelastic connective tissue, contains lymphoid nodules, mucus and seromucous glands. Elastic lamina separates the mucosa and submucosa, which we have already seen. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the trachea. You have to draw the mucosa, submucosa and the adventitia. Submucosa, it consists of dense, irregular fibroelastic connective tissue and also numerous mucus and seromucous glands. Adventitia, that is the fibroelastic connective tissue, most prominent feature is the hyaline cartilage, which is C-shaped and the intervening fibrous connective tissue. So again, this is the panoramic view of the transverse section of the trachea slide, which is stained with the hematoxylin eosin under low magnification, which consists of 3 layers, which is clearly seen: mucosa, submucosa, and adventitia. So the trachea slide you have to identify with this epithelium pseudostratified and by the cartilage in the adventitia, which we cannot miss. So that is again the diagrammatic representation of the trachea, which consists of 3 layers. Now we will complete this topic up to the bronchial tree, and we will continue with the remaining in the next video. Bronchial tree begins at the bifurcation of trachea, and which is again dividing into primary, secondary and tertiary bronchi. Again, then the starting of the bronchioles, secondary and the tertiary bronchioles. Changes are, what is from trachea to bronchi, what are the changes? Decrease in the amount of cartilage, number of glands and goblet cells, height of the epithelial cells, increase in the smooth muscle and the elastic tissue. That is the change in the bronchial tree. Primary bronchi will be identical to that of the trachea, except that bronchi are smaller in diameter and their walls are thinner. Secondary and tertiary bronchi similar to primary bronchi with the exceptions. The C-shaped cartilage are replaced by irregular plates of hyaline cartilage. And smooth muscle is at the junction of the lamina propria and the submucosa as 2 distinct smooth muscle layers. Seromucous glands and lymphoid elements in lamina propria and also the submucosa. So these are the changes from the trachea to the bronchus. So you can appreciate here also the hyaline cartilage is present as pieces of hyaline cartilage. Same epithelium is present, but you can appreciate smooth muscle is prominent in the bronchi, starting from the bronchi. So this histology of respiratory system as such is an important topic because of this changes in the epithelium from proximal to distal, changes in the cartilage from proximal to distal, and so many changes from the number of goblet cells from proximal to distal. So you should understand why these changes are taking place. So first, the primary parts or the proximal parts are the conducting parts, and the distal parts, lung, alveoli is the respiratory part, so where the actual exchange of gases take place. So according to their functions, these changes are happening from proximal to distal. So that's the interesting feature of histology of respiratory system. We will continue with the remaining histology of respiratory system in the next video. Those who are not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe us so that you will have the continuation of the histology, embryology, and also the gross anatomy topics. Thank you.